The Tower in the Mist. The sun, a distant hazy orb, struggled to penetrate the perpetual shroud that clung to the horizon. Beyond the humble palisades of Oakhaven Village, where the last sturdy oak trees yield to an unnaturally dense fog, lay a legend whispered in hushed tones: the Tower in the Mist. Few had seen it, fewer still had approached, and none, it was said, had ever returned to tell its true tale. Auric, a name known more by the silent trails he left behind than by the company he kept, was a wanderer of a different sort. His adventures weren't driven by greed for emeralds or the thrill of battle, but by an insatiable hunger for the unknown. He carried the scars of countless encounters with creepers and the grim satisfaction of a well-placed pickaxe strike. Yet his true quest was always for the riddle, unsolved, the mystery unspoken. The villagers of Oakhaven, with their wide, wary eyes and their swift retreats into their homes, offered no direct answers about the tower. Their silence, however, spoke volumes, painting a picture of a place not merely dangerous, but deeply cursed. He spent a day gathering his affairs, a fresh diamond pickaxe, its edges shimmering with enchanted potency, a sword forged from the same peerless material, stacks of golden apples for nourishment and healing, a quiver heavy with sharpened arrows, and countless torches, their wooden shafts ready to banish the dark. Auric knew the mist wouldn't merely obscure vision, it would swallow light, distort sound, and prey upon the mind. As the twin moons began their slow ascent, casting an ethereal glow on the retreating village, Auric stepped into the enveloping vapor. The transition was immediate and profound. The world compressed, reduced to few square blocks of visible terrain. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves filled the air, mingled with something else, a faint metallic tang, like distant lightning. Sounds became muffled, indistinct. The soft crunch of gravel beneath his sturdy boots was swallowed almost instantly. He pressed on, guided only by the compass that pointed relentlessly north, where the villagers claimed the tower stood. Hours blurred into a timeless journey. He heard the faint, unsettling hiss of a creeper too close for comfort, but the mist provided a strange kind of safety, hiding him as much as it hid his foe. The distant moan of a zombie echoed, a forlorn cry lost in the vapor. He pressed a hand against the cool, rough bark of an unseen tree, reassuring himself of his presence in the physical world. Just as a creeping exhaustion began to set in, a monolithic silhouette emerged from the swirling white. It was impossibly tall, a testament to ancient craftsmanship, rising like a jagged fang from the earth. The Tower in the Mist. Its blocks were of a dark, obsidian-like material, interwoven with veins of glowing, purplish stone that seemed to pulse with a faint internal light. No windows marred its smooth, imposing face, and no obvious entrance presented itself. Auric circled the base, his torch held high, casting fleeting shadows against the slick, ancient stone. He ran his gloved hand over carvings that depicted strange, angular symbols, unlike any he had ever seen in the oldest ruins. Then, his fingers brushed against a barely discernible fissure. With the precise strike of his pickaxe, a section of the wall slid inward, revealing a narrow, unlit passage. A gust of stale, earthy air, heavy with the scent of damp stone and something subtly metallic, spilled out. The first floor was a labyrinth. Corridors twisted and turned, each identical to the last, designed to disorient. Auric navigated by placing torches at every turn, carefully marking his path. The silence inside was even more profound than the mist outside, broken only by the drip of unseen water and the scuttling of tiny, unseen cave spiders. He discovered a hidden pressure plate beneath a loose floor tile, triggering a sequence of events that led him to a spiral staircase, ascending into the unknown. The second level was a chamber of echoes. The air vibrated with a faint guttural growl, and the telltale rattle of bone on stone. As he stepped onto the polished stone floor, the source of the noise revealed itself. A dimly lit alcove containing a skeleton spawner, perpetually churning out its bony guardians. Arrows whizzed past his head, embedding themselves in the wall with dull thuds. Auric acted swiftly, his pickaxe a blur. He blocked the spawner's output with cobblestone, then shattered the spawner itself, silencing the relentless clatter. He moved with grim efficiency, clearing the remaining skeletons before they could fully aim, their vacant eye sockets glaring even in defeat. The third floor presented a different kind of challenge. The air grew noticeably warmer, almost humid, and the walls were adorned with strange, glowing red dust patterns. Redstone. It was a complex array of pistons and pressure plates, clearly designed as a puzzle. One wrong step, and a sharp stone wall would slam shut, or a floor panel would drop into a dark pit. Auric studied the patterns, his brow furrowed in concentration. He recognized certain logic gates, deciphered the sequence, and carefully activated the pressure plates in the correct order. The final plate clicked, and a hidden door hissed open. Just then, a shadowy figure coalesced in the corner of his eye. An Enderman. It stood perfectly still, its long limbs unnaturally bent, its purple eyes fixed on Auric. It didn't move, didn't threaten, but merely observed, a silent, unsettling witness to his progress, before melting back into the shadows as quickly as it had appeared. The fourth level reeked of ash and brimstone. Netherrack blocks replaced the cool stone, and the distant, mournful wail of a ghost echoed from unseen chasms beyond the walls. The very air shimmered with heat. Magma blocks pulsed with internal fire, and the ground was littered with pockets of smoldering netherwort. The source of the mist, Auric realized, was not of this world. He ducked as a fiery projectile, clearly from a blaze, scorched the air just above his head. He scrambled for cover behind a pillar of nether brick, drawing his bow. The blaze, its fiery rods spinning furiously, hovered in the distance. Auric's arrows found their mark, one after another, until the creature dissipated in a puff of smoke, leaving behind a glowing rod. The path onward was fraught with peril, narrow bridges spanning dark chasms, filled with the unseen threat of a wither skeleton. He battled them methodically, their obsidian swords clashing against his diamond, until he stood alone, his breath ragged, his inventory of healing potions dangerously low. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he reached the highest chamber. The air here was thick, heavy, vibrating with an almost tangible energy. The room was not grand, nor was it filled with treasure. Instead, at its very center, stood a single, incomplete structure. It was a nether portal frame, but unlike any he had ever seen. Its obsidian blocks were rough, unpolished, and only partially formed, as if the portal had sprung into existence before it was truly ready. From its incomplete frame, a thick gray vapor constantly billowed forth, the perpetual mist that blanketed the land below. The portal pulsed erratically, a deep, unsettling thrum that resonated in Auric's bones. He could almost discern faint, fleeting images within its swirling depths. A skeletal hand, a ghast's tear, the shadowed outline of a colossal, three-headed being. The tower, then, wasn't cursed. It was merely a housing, an anchor for this unstable tear in reality. At the very heart of the incomplete portal, embedded in the ground, lay a single, peculiar block. It wasn't an emerald, or diamond, or even a gold block. It was a beacon, not activated by its usual pyramid base, but resonating with the raw, unstable energy of the portal itself. It wasn't designed to project power, but to absorb it, or perhaps to focus it. The beacon was shimmering with an unnatural purple glow, almost as if struggling against the overwhelming force it contained. Auric realized the key to the mystery wasn't to destroy this dangerous anomaly, but to somehow stabilize it. Destroying it could rip a hole in reality, unleashing something far worse than mist. He knelt, observing. The beacon was fixed, but a faint line of redstone dust connected to it, leading to a small, almost invisible crack in the obsidian floor. He noticed a single piece of redstone dust, barely visible, nudged slightly out of alignment. It was a small detail, easily missed, yet it was the only variable. With trembling fingers, Auric carefully, painstakingly, nudged the redstone dust back into its proper place. The effect was not immediate, not explosive, but subtly profound. The erratic pulsing of the incomplete portal slowly, steadily, began to calm. The deep thrum softened into a low hum. The gray vapor continued to pour forth, but it seemed less violent, less oppressive, thinning almost imperceptibly as Auric watched. The ethereal visions within the portal's swirling depths faded, becoming mere blurs, then vanishing entirely. The tower's dangerous instability had been calmed, the threat contained, but not eliminated. The mist would remain a perpetual sentinel, but its malevolent influence had receded. Exhausted, but with a quiet sense of accomplishment, Auric began his long descent. Each floor, now familiar, felt less threatening. The air lightened, the echoes softened. When he finally emerged from the tower's hidden entrance, the mist still swirled around him, but it felt lighter, less suffocating, almost ethereal. The oppressive weight had lifted. He walked back towards Oakhaven, the journey feeling strangely shorter than before. As he approached the village, a few villagers, emboldened by the subtle shift in the mist, peered out from their doorways. Their eyes, though still wary, held a flicker of something new. Curiosity, even a hint of awe. They sensed the change, the subtle lifting of the ancient dread that had clung to their home. A young farmer offered him a freshly baked bread, a silent gesture of gratitude. Auric accepted it with a nod, offering no explanation. The true nature of the tower in the mist, its purpose as an anchor for an unstable rift, was not a secret to be shared. The villagers, he knew, would continue to whisper their legends, and the tower would remain an enigma. But the silent understanding between him and the mist was enough. He left Oakhaven as quietly as he had arrived. The knowledge of the tower's true nature, a heavy burden and a quiet triumph. The mist would still hang heavy over that corner of the world, a permanent reminder of the delicate balance between dimensions, but it no longer felt like a curse. It was a veil, shielding a profound secret, a task it had been, and would continue to be, uniquely suited for. As he disappeared into the wider world, a pair of luminous purple eyes watched from the edge of the receding mist, an Enderman observing, a silent, knowing witness to the adventurer's solitary victory.